What's going on, guys? This is Kaishiro. Welcome back. We are back with another Uncrowned Kings local metagame report video that will cover tournament results and decklist reviews for the past 2 weeks already. So we have February 7 to February 11. So we are going to browse the topping results all over the OCG scene on those days. So without further ado, let's start. Coming at first, we have Paducah weekly tournament. First, we have Labyrinth. So, pretty standard deck is of Labyrinth now. Opted to play 3 transaction rollback, but nowadays, the ratio of rollback are diminishing into 1 or 2 copies only on the previous Japanese Labyrinth tops deck list. So, I think transaction rollback should be pondered whether you are going to run 2, 3, or 1 copy of rollback. But yeah, I think it's really up in the air for the Labyrinth players to decide on because I'm not really knowledgeable on the deck that much. So yeah, place Eradicator on the side deck. Really interesting. Could be good against some matchups like purely Runic, and even on the top tier decks that runs a lot of spell cards can also struggle around this card. So yeah, really interesting choice. Next we have Voiceless Voice Mechanico. Really interesting. So he mix and match those two ritual decks. So maybe Mechanico offers a variety of plays when losing the die roll. You're much more comfortable when losing the die roll because Mechanico is really good when going second just to OTK the opponent. So Voiceless Voice is the turn 1 engine. Then Mechanico really complements the deck as a go second option on this list. But yeah, nonetheless he plays Floodgates like there can be only one on the deck. And also the side deck is pretty much linear on going second. He opted to play Dark Rulers, Lightning Storms, and Evenly Match. So he pretty much focuses on going second when side decking. So yeah, very nice deck list here. Next we have Dino. So pretty standard deck list of Dino. Opted to main 1 Feather Duster. That's the unusual part because most people are not playing Duster on the main deck. But yeah, I think Dino has a pretty good capability of OTK. So it's really nice to put the Duster on the main deck. On the side deck, he played Lava Golem. Last week, I have seen this inclusion as well on this player. Maybe this is the same player because it's from Paducah as well. But yeah, he plays Lava Golem on the main deck for the Dino. I think it's really unusual because you might commit your normal summon pretty often. But yeah, I think Lava Golem could work. Next, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Davao Mindanao Gaming Ranking Tournament. Coming at first, we have Pizarro, Voiceless Voice. So, yeah, standard deck list of Voiceless Voice. He didn't run the Pendulum Grab on this list. Instead, he played 2 Sauravis. But most people are not running 2 copies of Sauravis now. They have ditched the 1 copy of Sauravis in replacement of the Pendulum Grab. So, yeah, very interesting choice to include 2 copies of Sauravis. I myself are not running 2 copies of Sauravis anymore because I think Pendulum Grab offers more variety on mirror match. So yeah, and on the side deck he still plays the Soul Release paired with Trust. So it could be really strong when going against Snake Eyes and Fire King matchups and any decks that runs Promethean on the graveyard. And then next we have Snake Eyes, Fire King. Yeah, standard list of Snake Eyes, Fire King. I couldn't really see anything different on this. Maybe he plays 2 Island. Some Japanese deck lists are not running 2 Island anymore. They only play 1 to maximize their main deck to have more slots for hand traps and utility cards like Talent and hand trap like Nibiru or Droll. So on this list, he only plays 1 Nibiru and 1 Droll. And only 2 Bonfire, really interesting. I think it's a budget issue, maybe. Because I would rather see 3 copies of Bonfire because it is a very strong card. But I think 2 is fine on minimal ratio. And next, we have Ricky's Toys and Hobby Shop Ranking Tournament. Coming at first, we have Horus Ice Barrier. Wow, really spicy. Who let him cook from Efran, the champion of the tournament. So, yeah, interesting choice. Maybe Horus complements the deck by having more outlets to have more options to play when going first. It also offers protection. Maybe if he's running Photon Lord, but he is not. So, he's just trying to boost his going second with the Horus to have more OTK cards and also the access to Dingirisu and also the Coach King improves the consistency of the deck. So yeah, on the side deck, he plays Lancea and Artificial Lancea and Skullmeister. So Lancea are losing popularity nowadays because I think people are more giving respect towards the Fire King Snake Eyes and Voiceless Voice, and they cannot really invest too much on Floowandereeze matchup. That's why I think Lancea is losing traction right now. But yeah, Skullmeister is really interesting here. I couldn't really see that much Skullmeisters on the side deck recently, but yeah, he opted to use Skullmeister here. Next we have Ice Barrier. Wow, another Ice Barrier. So Ice Barrier is a very interesting deck from the Terminal World. I think more people are playing the Ice Barrier because it's much more budget on the meta right now, and I think it's a nice attribute of the deck to be budget as well and still very competitive. So yeah, I think it's a good call to play this deck. I think it's a very high decent rogue deck right now, but I wouldn't really say that it's tier 3 worthy meta. So I think it's a really good solid budget option right now. Next we have Trap Tricks, heavy trap oriented Trap Tricks build. So he played Ice Dragon Prison and Compulsory on the main deck paired with D Barrier and evenly match. So he could really go second. I think this is a budget list of Trap Tricks, no? He only plays extra deck on 11 cards only, and he doesn't play Ash and Imperm. Yeah. So I would assume that this is a budget list of Trap Tricks. And interesting 3 copies of Gamma Shell on the side deck. I think it could be really strong against Voiceless Voice maybe. But yeah. Next we have Horus Orcust. So only 13 cards on the side deck. Another interesting inclusion here. And yeah, Horus Orcust is a pretty solid mid-range deck. And he also plays a Small World to boost the consistency of the deck. It's very interesting as well because I cannot see Orcust running Small World, but I think he has lines to work this Small World on his deck list. And on the side deck, he plays Bestial, very good option right now to counter the Voiceless Voice. Bestials offers you resiliency around Voiceless Voice because you can banish Dalo on the graveyard or sometimes a Fira. So yeah, Bestials can be really great right now on the format. Next we have, moving on, we have Battle Championship Asian English Qualifier from Eternity, Good Guy Games. So this is Asian English version. So coming at first, we have Mekanko, a really solid going second deck. It's very evident on this list. He played 3 Lava Golem on the main deck and 3 Nibiru and 3 evenly match as well. So he could definitely lose the die roll and still win games. Also, 3 Prosperity is very crazy on the Asian English format. It's really a sight to be seen because it's really a huge card to boost the consistency of the many decks on the Asian English format. Next we have Synchron. So yeah, I think Synchron is still playable on the Asian English version because they do have a lot of cards on the extra deck now that they have gotten the Barone from the RCO for Asian English edition. And also 3 Rota, another interesting inclusion on the AE format where Rota is at 3. Imagine that. And also 3 Gold Buy. So you are really well equipped to combat the Maxi on this format because you have 3 Gold Buy. And yeah, I think it's really disgusting thing to look at because I think Cold Buy at 3 is really cancerous, to be honest. I would rather see this Cold Buy at 2 on the next ban list of Asian English, but now we do have a lot of cards in full power in the Asian English format. Next we have Rescue Ace without the Sinful Spoils. Yeah, I think this is also really nice option to play on the Asian English format because we will get the Agov AE very soon, and this deck will eventually get better once they have gotten the Sinful Spoils engine and also the Snake Eyes from the Phantom Nightmare. And also Rescue Ace is full power right now on the AE or Asian English format. So yeah, it's very interesting to see where this deck evolves from on the Asian English. Next we have Purely. So triple Prosperity on Purely. He didn't want to run Desires, I think, but I would rather see Desires here over Prosperity. And yeah, place the Dark World package on the main deck to have discard Fathers. And also on the side deck, I think I really like the side deck. He played Triple Summon Limit because this is a very strong card for Purely, especially when going first. Nor plus Summon Limit is pretty much game over against other decks except for Runic, because Runic is also well represented right now on the Asian English format. But yeah. And then next we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Davao Mindanao Gaming Ranking Tournament. We have Rika San Avalon from Bernard Kyle Ramos. So Rika is a deck that never really goes out of style, no? It's really just there whenever and whatever the meta calls upon. They're a very reliable deck to play, and they're still very far-fetched from banlist, so banlist wouldn't hurt the deck, unlike the TCG format where they have addressed the Rika as a problem deck. But on the OCG, it's very different. We have Maxi to nullify the advantages of this deck, and also OCG is a very conservative format except for TCG. And yeah, next we have Dogmatica. Wow, the extra deck diminishing factor of this deck is really cancerous, to be honest. You would only have 2 or 3 extra deck cards remaining once this deck gets rolling. So I think this deck snowballs for really crazy advantages once they get their thing going. You cannot stop them from taking over the game, especially if you are extra deck reliant. You would struggle very bad against this deck. So yeah, I think this is also a very nice deck to play as a rogue right now. Next we have Order of the Duelist in Albay Tournament. So we have champion Mark Stephen, Manadium Scareclaw. So I think he's very good at Manadium because I have seen this player on our community. He's a really strong pilot of this deck, and also a very nice player to bond with because he's a good and nice guy. And yeah, I think the decklist is very optimal. He played the engines and ratios very perfectly, and also the field spell are included here as well for the field spell of Tearlaments as well. And also maining copies of Droplet. That's the interesting choice here. Maybe he wants to address Voiceless Voice matchup maybe, and Snake Eyes as well. And yeah, moving on, we have first runner up Horus Orcus Diabellstar, or the Sinful Spoils. So I really like the inclusion of Phantasmi on the side deck. I think Phantasmi is a really strong card right now in the format. Gives you advantages over the Snake Eyes matchup. And also the decks are pretty much linear on right now are pretty much linear on Link Summoning. So I think it's really a good call. It took time to see the Visas Amritara, Visas Samsara, I assume. A broken copy of Samsara on the middle. And yeah, very nice deck from Joshua. Next we have second runner-up, Labyrinth. So this Labyrinth is pretty much different from the usual Labyrinth. It plays Witch Strike, no? On the, I think, main deck or side deck. I couldn't count the numbers that much. But yeah, very interesting. There's a lot of variety of trap cards on the main deck, and also plays the Labyrinth setup, which are very controversial right now. I think most people are arguing whether they play the setup or not. But yeah, I would rather see the setup on the side deck, on my opinion. Next we have another ice barrier. So it's already the third or fourth copy of Ice Barrier in our report here. So it's pretty much safe to say that Ice Barrier is well represented last week. So yeah, Ice Barrier really is a cool deck, and most people really underrate the deck, and they don't respect the matchup. They don't even know the choke points of Ice Barrier, and they would definitely get punished for that. So yeah, moving on, we have Duelist Ribo Sungay Card Game Community Ranking Tournament, Weekly Tournament rather. So at first we have Fluandris, another very powerful deck on the metagame. Once you overlook the Fluandris, they are really a pesky deck to combat against. And yeah, Empen is still a very strong turn 1 board. and most people cannot really play around that, and they're definitely going to lose if Floowandereeze opens the D fissure. It's a very oppressive card right now, and the triple copies of Magnificent Map really made the deck more viable in the competitive scene. The issue of Floowandereeze is their consistency, but having 3 copies of map really boosts their consistency, and they're now able to go against the format. So yeah, I think this is a very solid option right now to play. Next, we have Fire King Snake Eyes. Play Circle of the Fire Kings on the main deck, very interesting. And also 2 copies of Island and 2 copies of the Sanctuary of the continuous spell. So that's the interesting part here. Most people would want to play 1-2 or 2-1 ratio of that, but he opted to play 2-2. So it's very interesting. And on the side deck, he played Ghost Bells at 3 copies. Maybe this is his answer towards the Voiceless Voice matchup, and can be good against a lot of matchups on the metagame as well. So I think this is a good choice from him. And triple Droplet, no? I think he really respects Voiceless Voice on the side deck. And next we have Aditya Halim, Pendulum Magician. So another explosive deck on the meta. I think 1-card combo Dragon Shrine is very absurd. And yeah, one card combo Foolish Burial. There's a lot of 1-card here. And I think this is a very strong deck to play on the format. But the relevance of Anti-Spell is really a hassle for this deck. And yeah, I think that's the problem of this deck right now. If the local scene is inclined on playing Anti-Spell, you would really struggle on this deck. But if they are not playing Anti-Spell, they are playing something like Solemn Strike, you could get away with this deck. But nonetheless, this is still a very explosive combo deck to play and can really overwhelm a lot of people, especially if it can go first. And then moving on, we have Duelo Iloilo ranking tournament. Coming at first, we have Branded Chimera with the Illusion package, no? Very interesting. This is the first time that I have seen Branded Chimera with the Illusion package. So Illusion really made Chimera very strong right now. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to rate this deck as a tier 1 deck right now. And Chimera is really just that good in my books. And yeah, I think this is a very interesting deck to look upon on the following months or sets, because this deck is very capable of tapping right now. On the side deck, I really like the fact that he played to There Can Be Only One and 2 Anti-Spell. It is a very complementary card to play, especially when you go first. You make your board more oppressive, and it floodgates your opponent, especially a lot of decks are pretty squishy. They have a lot of playthrough, especially Fire King Snake Eyes. They do have a lot of plays to work around, so the Anti-Spell and There Can Be Only One can really help you. And next, we have Voiceless Voice from Matthew Ray. So pretty standard, plays Triple Diviner, and yeah, I think this is a very standard. He didn't play Prosperity, no? Instead, he opted to play Triple Veiler and 3 Imperm. I really respect that idea. I think Prosperity can be underwhelming, especially Droll is very popular. When your opponent does have Droll and you open with Prosperity, you would really struggle around it. And yeah, I think Extrav is really just okay with the Voiceless Voice. And next, we have Melodious, another interesting deck on the OCG metagame right now. They have been surging really fast on the previous weeks and days of the OCG. I think this is a very potent deck to be a tier 1 candidate on the OCG tier list right now. But yeah, they are tier 2 deck on many tier lists of OCG people right now, and I couldn't really disagree with them. This is a very strong deck. I have faced this deck on online simulator games, and this is a very hard matchup for a lot of decks. I'm playing Voiceless Voice, and I found this matchup pretty hard to be combated against. So I think this is a really strong mid-range deck. You have a lot of hand traps, and you have a lot of space on the main deck. Like here, he has 2 talents and 2 evenly matched. He does really have space for those cards in the main deck, even when running Veilers and Imperms already. So this is a very strong deck for me. Next we have Dino, another Dino, no? I think it's the third Dino on our list already. But yeah, Dino is still Dino. They're very represented since 2017. This deck even won the World Championship. And I think Dino is a very adaptive deck on the format. They have now a lot of tools on the Dino. This Dino are playing the Nemesis package so that he can turbo out the Colossus when going first. And Colossus against the format right now is instant win, to be honest. You pretty much guarantee your win against Snake Eyes, Parking, Voiceless Voice, and even on the rogue matchups like Purely and Runic, they would really struggle bad against the Calamity. So yeah, Calamity is very strong. Rather Colossus, Thunder Dragon Colossus. And yeah, moving on. We have Duelist Diwata ranking tournament. Coming at first, we have... Oh, we started at second. Coming at first, we have Memento. Wow, very interesting. This deck also got representations after the Lede because they have gotten new support, and this deck seem to be better than ever. Now they are playing Horus on the deck. I wonder why, but yeah, I think Horus gives another outlet for the deck to have a different engine, to have more breathing room when playing through boards and also baiting hand traps. So yeah, this could be really interesting. I wonder if people would invest on Memento because this looks very promising as well. And on the side deck, he played Raigeki. I'm not really too sure about that. Maybe he should just have played Cosmic Cyclone to answer the Farking matchup and a back row removal as well. But yeah, Raigeki could work sometimes. Next we have Gold Pride Punk. So another interesting deck. So yeah, double emergency teleport, and yeah, I think this is a very explosive combo deck as well when going first. And the synergy between Punk and Gold Pride is pretty nice, no? I think in the TCG, this is a very equipped deck by many people. So I think we should definitely learn about this deck because this looks to be a very problematic deck if you don't know what you're going to do against this deck. And on the side deck, he played Solemn Judgment. Could be a really strong card to protect his board maybe, and anti-spell as well. Next we have the Ritual Beast from Victory. So Ritual Beast is also a deck that counters the meta. It really disables the Graveyard from playing the Shifter and the Fissure, but on this list he only plays Shifter. And on the side deck, I think it's very diverse. It has a lot of combinations of going second and going first cards. And yeah, I think anti-spell on this is really strong because when you set up your board and paired with anti-spell, I think most decks cannot break that board on that moment. But I would rather see Kaiser Colosseum here. It's much more a toxic card than anti-spell, and I think this deck would benefit from Kaiser Colosseum. And next we have Vanquish Soul with Snake Eyes package. Very interesting. So he uses the Vanquish Soul as the secondary engine maybe, because I would rather see the lines of Snake Eyes on my turn 1 board on this deck. Or maybe he uses the attributes of Snake Eyes being fire as reveal targets as well for the Vanquish Soul. So yeah, very interesting deck here from Alex. And yeah, I think double Promethean on the extra deck is very insane. And yeah, he also played Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries on the side deck just to answer the Ritual Beast matchup on their local scene. Very interesting. Is really what do you call this? Very fixated on dealing against Ritual Beast. And the next, we have Duelist Diwata, another tournament from them. We have Monarch on the... So we have Monarch. Yeah, we have Monarch as the champion of the tournament. So very intriguing, no? He played Jinzo on the side deck. Maybe it is an answer for Labyrinth matchup and other trap-based decks. But yeah, very interesting. Jinzo and Monarch. I think it's the 6 months already or 7 months already that I have seen Monarch top. Very insane. I couldn't really predict that this deck would still top in 2024. I think this deck is inherently bricky, but if things go well for Monarch, I think this is still a very potent deck when going first, and really strong one because it can stun people. But yeah, it's really intriguing, to be honest. My word. So yeah, moving on, we have Dragon Link from Judge Official. Maybe he's the judge of the tournament. So he played Dragon Link, and main deck 2 copies of Droll. He would rather see Gamma and Droll on the main deck rather than Veiler and Imperm. So yeah, I think this is also a very interesting choice here from the Dragon Link player. And on the side deck, very linear. I think the Ghost Ogre is very strong here on the format. You address a lot of matchups on the meta games such as Floowandereeze and the Tenpai, which are gaining traction as well. So Ghost Ogre can handle their field spell really easily. So Ghost Ogre is a good call here. Next we have Snake Eyes, Snake Eyes, Sinful Spoils. So pretty standard list from Panji. Triple Bonfire and 1-for-1. Also another consistency card on the main deck. And yeah. Next we have Ritual Beast. Another Ritual Beast. So I think it's the same deck list as earlier. Yeah, it's the same. And we wouldn't ponder on it too much because this is the deck that we have tackled earlier. Next we have Rike's Toys and Hobby Shop. Ranking tournament. First we have another Ritual Beast. So there's a lot of Ritual Beasts on our tournament report this time. And yeah, I think this is still a very combative deck on the format. It can really topple some meta decks, especially if it can go first. You have a lot of board to play through, and also Shifter is a very problematic card for the format, and this deck doesn't really care about playing Shifter any at all. They can just Shifter all day and do their plays. And next we have Illusionist Chimera. This time without the new Chimera, or rather Illusionist cards on the main deck. Instead, he opted to play Horus on the main deck. So yeah, I think playing Horus Chimera is a tricky deck to play right now. I know this is the best version of Chimera before, but now with the Illusionist cards on the format, I think that's the better option to play. But yeah, Horus also has advantages such as the Coach King and also a better going second tools for you. Next we have Mannadium. So another Mannadium here, and he doesn't play the Tearlament's field spell on this one. Really different from the Mark Stephen decklist of Mannadium earlier. But yeah, very linear decklist of Mannadium. Nothing too extravagant about this. Next we have Wow, top 4 Pure Fire King. Who let him cook? Goodness. So this is a very interesting list. Wow, I'm flabbergasted, to be honest. I think I wouldn't see Fire King as a pure deck on this 2024, especially Fire King Snake Eyes Sinful Spoils is the best deck, but this guy managed to top on that tournament using a budget Fire King, relatively budget, because you only need the structure deck, to be honest, to build this deck, and only Max and Ash are the staples, and only relying on trap cards. So he wants to have access on the Trap Tricks extra deck here, and would rather see the Gravekeepers and Floodgate Trap Hole on this board. Very interesting. I'm really surprised to see this list topping. I'm not really too sure on how he functions the Gate Guardian here on the extra deck. Maybe I'm missing something on this list, but yeah, nonetheless, this is very impressive from Sips. And the next we have Davao Mindanao Gaming Ranking Tournament. So another Snake Eyes Fire King. We won't really talk about it too much because this is also the best deck, and the lists are very similar on each other. It really differs on 1 card or 2 cards, 3 cards sometimes on the main deck. It's just a variety of hand trap options, and also the ratio of the island and the continuous spell. So pretty much linear all over. And yeah, next we have Fire King Snake Eyes, another Fire King. So he opted to main deck Gamma, and yeah, Driver, of course. He doesn't play Delta maybe on the extra deck, or rather side deck. He doesn't play it on the main deck, but yeah, I think Gamma and Driver is already fine on the main deck. Only plays one copy of Droll and Nibiru. I think those are just cross out targets for him. Next we have Duelo Iloilo Major Qualifiers Tournament. So now we have Voiceless Voice, another Voiceless Voice. It plays Super Poly on the main deck. Very intriguing option because Super Poly really lost its popularity recently, no? I think more and more people are trimming the copies of Super Poly on their main deck, and some people are not even playing Super Poly on the side deck any at all. So yeah, playing Super Poly is really dependent on the format and metagame that you are playing on. So some locals are not really Super Poly oriented, and they would not lose around Super Poly. And also good players are also playing around Super Poly quite often. They're really what they call is prepared on dealing against Super Poly, so they're trying to make a board that doesn't lose to Super Poly. And yeah, I think Super Poly can be really strong against Voiceless Voice, of course, but they still have ways to summon back those Guardians and Lo on their field, even getting Super Poly. But on the side deck, I really like the inclusion of 2 talent here on the side deck. It's really good to answer the mid-range oriented format that we currently have. And yeah, moving on. We have Pendulum Magician with Sinful Spoils package. Wow. So I really didn't think that this deck could work. This is very spicy from Patrick Ursua. And yeah, I think the Sinful Spoils gives another dimension for the deck, especially with the Diabel Z on the main deck. And yeah, also it empowers the going first of this Pendulum Magician. Next we have ABC Revolution. Wow. So ABC with more combo pieces, no? With the likes of the Revolution and I forgot the name of this card. The level 8 rather, Dark Monster. I forgot the name. And on the side deck it plays Trap Eater. Very interesting choice. And also plays Necro Valley. I think Necro Valley could really work here. So he has Dragon Ravine on the main deck along with some Tyrion cards. So he plays the Tyrion Regulus on the main deck. And yeah. So that sums up our Uncrowned Kings local metagame report video. So if you have time, you can visit our page here of Uncrowned Kings and drop a like and share on this page. So once again, thank you for watching. Please help me reach 1K subscribers because we are nearing on that milestone. So thank you for the continued patronage on my YouTube channel. So see you again. Peace.